Okay folks, how you guys doing? Welcome to my channel, Look Good, Smell Good Fragrance Reviews. Today I will be doing my quick review on this fragrance right over here, Givenchy Gentleman Boisee Eau de Parfum. Let's get to it. So, this is the newest flanker release by the house of Givenchy of the Gentleman lineup that they have going on. This was released in 2020, and some of the notes that you're going to get from this, it's a woodsy scent. It's a woody, spicy scent. Some of the notes you're going to get from this are black pepper, coriander, geranium, iris, cedar, cacao. The base notes are going to be sandalwood, patchouli, and other woodsy notes. How does it smell? I've got a test strip right over here. Let's smell it. How does it smell? This fragrance, guys, smells beautiful. So when I first spray this, I'm immediately off the top reminded of Valentino Uomo's Intense. So has anybody ever smelled Valentino Uomo Intense and the Dior Homme line? The iris that you get from those lines is exactly the same type of vibe you're going to get from Givenchy Gentleman Boisee. It's got that Valentino Uomo Intense, that Dior Homme iris that comes out of this, which smells incredible and it smells beautiful. If you're not a fan of those fragrances, then you're not going to like this. But if you like the iris in Dior Homme lines and you like the iris in Valentino Uomo Intense, you're definitely going to love Givenchy's Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisee. So most of the notes that I pick up, the iris comes through straight away. You get certain hints of the black pepper and coriander acting as supporting notes, and then as it dries down, the sandalwood and the cacao and the cedar come through. The cacao is, for some reason, I don't hardly pick up on the cacao as much. I think most of the woods come out, the cedar comes out, the sandalwood comes out, and the patchouli comes out, and whatever other woodsy notes they've mentioned, they're also there. I would have loved to smell the cacao bring out a chocolatey type of scent. You know, the cacao that if you ever smell, what was it, the Hugo Boss Private Scent Accord, the cacao in there, that was a nice one, and it gives it that chocolatey type of scent. But this here, it's not, to my nose, it's just iris with woods. Does it smell nice? Yes, it does. This fragrance has only one downfall, and it is the worstest downfall in all fragrances when they contain it, and that is the performance. The performance on this fragrance is weak. Projection is weak, longevity is weak, which is a big letdown from the house of Givenchy, because coming from the previous flanker, which I have over here, Givenchy's Gentleman EDP, which was released in 2018, so coming from this flanker, which is an excellent fragrance, vanilla-based fragrance, the performance, longevity on this are beast mode. You know, a couple of sprays will have you definitely projecting, and longevity is great as well. So coming from there, reading the initial notes from this fragrance, having high hopes for it, smelling it, liking the scent, what a beautiful scent, and then to be let down with the performance. Guys, I went with 4 to 6 sprays, and this I could smell projecting off me close to 2 hours, if not even less. Longevity of skin and clothes, it died off really quickly. So you're looking at 3 to 4 hours of longevity, and some people might even go to saying 2 to 3 hours of longevity. This is definitely a skin scent. You know, it's a skin scent. It's not a scent that's going to project off more than an arm's length. It's going to stay close to your skin. Unless you drench yourself with this, then you're going to project. But if you're the type of guy that wears 2 to 4 sprays or 2 sprays to the next, this is a skin scent. That's all it is, and that's the biggest letdown for everybody. So I would recommend you do not buy a full bottle of this. Sample it, and you know, but whatever you do not buy a full bottle, because the performance on this has let me down and will let down every single person who smells this. Like I said, coming from the flanker of the EDP Gentleman, which was a beautiful fragrance like I mentioned before, and to have this and the scent profile and the character and the personality that this scent has, that Dior Homme scent with woodsy notes and sandalwood at the back with cedar, it smells beautiful. And again, it's just one of those scents that smells nice, will get you compliments only if somebody could smell it. So based on the scent, yes, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Compared to the scent, it smells beautiful. Again, if you're from the Dior lineup and you never liked the iris from Dior, or you thought it had too much of a makeup lipstick type of vibe, you're not going to like this either, you know. And if you liked Valentino Uomo Intense, the Dior Homme, you're going to love this. And that's why I liked it. When I initially sprayed it, I was so happy, like, oh, this smells actually quite nice. It's really quite good. And as it went on, it just died off. It's like the biggest projection you get is when you initially spray it, and that lasts for 10 minutes, and then it goes down. It just completely dies off. So within an hour to 2 hours, I was really trying to, smell it and pick it up, and it would still smell quite nice. But the performance is the biggest letdown of this fragrance. So yeah, I do not recommend anybody buying a full bottle of this fragrance. Sample it before you buy it. If you are going to purchase this, when is this best used for? My only thing is going to be on a date night, or when you're going for a close encounter and you don't want to annoy somebody. This will be a really great office scent. For what it is, it's a really great office scent. You would wear it and nobody's going to smell it. Only when somebody comes close to you are they going to pick little hints of it, and then you're like, okay, fine. But again, alternatives that you can get are any fragrances from the Dior Homme line, which you only have to do a couple of sprays. Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, the new Dior 2020. You just do a couple of sprays and you're good to go. Or Valentino Uomo Intense. So the alternatives to this are there. Do they smell? Is it a clone of those fragrances? No. But when you smell this, you can tell that it comes from the same genre, the same family, the same DNA of those iris-based fragrances, Dior Homme and Valentino Uomo Intense. That was my quick review on this fragrance, Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisee. As mentioned before, guys, great fragrance. Only biggest letdown is the performance. So yeah, one to look out for. Definitely go. If you haven't tried it, I recommend you buy a sample. Do not buy a full bottle. That's my review over here. Sorry guys, the review was a little bit longer than usual, not the minute review. Again, most of you are isolated in your house anyway. With that being said, the coronavirus is going about. There's a few people infected over here in the UK. In the United Kingdom, most people have been on lockdown. So school, colleges, universities, restaurants, pubs, mosques, synagogues, you name it, majority of UK is on a full lockdown over here. And as for most of the world, you're also being infected by the coronavirus, by the things that are going on. And one of the things that needs to be said is that going on Instagram and YouTube, all you continuously keep seeing is how to do better workouts, what to do in isolation, what to do over here, what to do over here, what type of fitness workout you should do, workout in the house, you do this over here. Everybody's just moving on to this whole what to do in isolation. And one of the things that I never seen on there was that while we're all sitting in our houses, happy, chilling, in good conditions, we don't have the virus, we're just sitting here chilling, wondering about what we're going to do and how much toilet roll, sanitizer and pasta we have left. At the meantime, every single hospital in the world and all the doctors, nurses, cleaners, admin staff, they're continuously working vigorously day and night just to make sure people who have the virus are being treated well, and people who don't have the virus get treated as well. People who don't have the virus stay away from the hospital. So this is why most of us are on lockdown. I think a big appreciation and thank you needs to go out to all the doctors out there, the nurses out there, and everybody in the hospital right now, working back and forth day and night just to make sure we're all safe and those who are infected are safe. Those who are infected get treated with proper treatment, given the conditions that they're in. Definitely need to give a special shout out and thank you to all the doctors and nurses who are working their asses off while we're basically just sitting over here. So yeah, thank you to all the nurses and doctors, and hopefully this coronavirus kills off pretty quickly. But for the meantime, I think most of us are isolated in our houses. So I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for stopping by, checking my review. I'll see you on the next one. As mentioned, a great fragrance, great smelling scent. However, the performance is the biggest letdown of this fragrance. So I recommend you to sample it. Do not buy a full bottle. Thank you for checking out my channel, guys. I'll see you on the next one.